The Democrat National Committee putting out a statement on Steve Bannon saying, quote, "There is one less white supremacist in the White House. Does not change the man sitting behind the desk." Donald Trump has spent decades fueling hate in communities, including his recent attempts to divide the country and give a voice to white supremacists. It's why Democrats will continue to show leadership and unify the country during this deeply troubling time. Let's take it to the political power panel. Independent Women's Forum, Patrice Lee Onwuka, and Washington Times contributor Eric Schiffer. Patrice, what do you make of that statement?
Oh, Democrats are obviously, they're seeing this as a victory or some sort of win and a kind of a stop to the Trump agenda. But what they don't realize is that President Trump has laid out an agenda that is going to continue to put, American families and American workers first. And Steve Bannon going out does not necessarily mean the agenda stops.
And it's worth noting in the statement the DNC said, they called Steve Bannon a white supremacist, Eric. And they also said there's one less white supremacist in the White House. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I can understand how some would view him that way. I get their perspective, but I mean, all the insider views of Bannon is the opposite, that he doesn't have these racist ideologies. But, it's hard to know. We're not close enough to know what's really going on. What we do know is that Donald Trump had enough, and it'll be interesting to see. I don't think Trump is going to lose contact with him. In fact, I think he'll still get his advice. And in fact, in certain ways, Bannon could actually help him from the outside, I think. So I don't know that it's a negative in any way to the Trump administration if it's managed right. If they don't manage it right, it could be a big problem.
We're just hearing word that, yes, from the White House sources, that Steve Bannon did tender his resignation August 7th, Patrice. He is out as of today. Patrice, let's get back to what's going on behind the scenes in the White House when it comes to getting the economic agenda forward. I have to say it again. The Trump voter, Patrice, does not like Congress at all. They see them as obstructionists. They know that businessmen have to report to investors quarterly. Members of the House report back to voters, every 2 years. You got three generals sitting at the top of the Pentagon, the NSA, and the Chief of Staff. Can they get the White House back on track?
Well, I think hopefully they can. I mean, Americans are waiting for not just, people to be in the same position for longer than 7 months, but for a real run at this agenda. When it comes to Democrats, and what they said before, I mean, it's just ridiculous. They're going to be focusing on race relations and in trying to position the Trump administration as white supremacists. Whereas if Congress and this administration can focus on getting people to work, providing tax relief, and heaven forbid, providing for relief from Obamacare, then I think Americans are going to read between the lines and realize that this is just a lot of, on the Democratic side, a lot of just hot air.
So we're going to see in the midterms, Eric, essentially, instead of, victories for the Trump administration on tax cuts, we're going to see there are fine people marching with Nazis in Charlottesville. That's going to be the Democrat commercial, the tagline, right?
I think that'll be one of them. It'll be interesting to see what else they're going to do. I mean, they certainly have a lot to attack the administration on. I think if the Democrats are smart, that's not what they're going to do. If they're smart, they're going to be running economic messaging. We saw what happened when they tried to just point out negatives with Trump in the election with Clinton. It didn't work. And I think the big takeaway, and I think Schumer gets this, is that you don't want to get stuck into this identity politics. You want to focus on what really matters to the end voter. A lot of them don't care about this. What they care about is, what are you doing to help the economy? What are you doing to help the job situation? If they're smart, that's where they're going to go. We don't know. But I suspect with Schumer, he gets it, and I suspect that will be most likely the majority of where the spend goes and where the focus is.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Eric. Quickly, Patrice, correct me if I'm wrong. President Trump won more minority voters in the last election than Mitt Romney. Is that true?
I believe he did, and there were some specific demographics, particularly black men who are disenfranchised and unemployed, who I think are looking to the president for some change.
Including, I think, 8 million Obama voters. Patrice and Eric, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on.